Yesterday, you spent some time discovering where pi comes from and how the circumference and the diameter are related to pi. Today, we're going to spend time actually practicing how to calculate the circumference of a circle. So how to calculate the distance around a circle. So quickly to review, whenever we see our symbol pi, in math, pi is equal to an infinite number of numbers. But in terms of 7th grade, anytime we see pi, that's going to equal 3.14. Pi comes from the relationship or the ratio of the circumference compared to the diameter. So we're always going to use this formula, C equals 2 pi r, to solve for the circumference of any size circle. So in order to find the circumference of this first circle, I would do 2 times 3.14, which is pi, times r. Right here, I am given a radius. Remember, the radius starts at the center of a circle and goes to the outside. So my radius is 8, so I'm going to plug in 8 for r. Since all of my numbers and variables are touching, that means multiply. So I'm going to multiply 2 times 3.14 times 8, and I'm going to get 50.24 centimeters. Calculating the circumference is pretty easy as long as we remember that formula. Be sure you have all of this on the back of your worksheet for today. Now let's take a look at this next circle. What do you notice about this circle compared to the last circle? Hopefully you can see that here we are not given a radius anymore. Here we are given the diameter of a circle. Because this line goes through the center and touches, its endpoints touches both ends of the circle, this is a diameter. Again, a diameter goes all the way through the center. I'm still going to use my same formula, C equals 2 pi r, to find the circumference. I'm going to leave C down here. I don't know my circumference. Let's start to fill in my numbers. 2 times 3.14 times r. Now, we need to be careful. Remember, I was given the diameter. I only want for this formula the radius. So I only want my line from the center to the outside. A radius is half a diameter. So if my diameter is 14, that means my radius is going to be 7, because 14 divided by 2 is 7. So essentially, 2 radiuses make up 1 diameter. So from here, just like before, we're going to go ahead and multiply everything, all 3 numbers together. 2 times 3.14 times 7, and we get 43.96 inches. Before moving on, make sure you have all of this on the back of your worksheet for today for your notes. Now we're going to take a look at a slightly different problem. What is the length of the radius of a circle whose circumference is 56.52 feet? This one is different because it is giving us the circumference. It's telling us that of a circle their circumference is 56.52. The question is asking for the length of the radius. Anytime in geometry that we have a problem with words, the first thing to do is draw a picture to represent the words. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a picture of a circle. It's talking about a radius, so I'm going to go ahead and draw my radius. Since I don't have a number for the radius, I'm going to go ahead and write r. Since I see circumference, I'm going to then write down my formula. C equals 2 pi r. From here with a formula, I can just plug in my numbers. Now though, instead of writing C, I know the circumference. The circumference is 56.52. So instead of writing the variable C, I'm going to write what it is. The circumference is 56.52 feet. Follow the formula. This circumference equals 2 times pi, 3.14, times r. I don't know what the radius is though, so I'm going to write r. I'm going to leave the variable there since I don't know what it is. Now I see on the right side that I can multiply these two numbers. So 56.52, the circumference, equals 2 times 3.14 is 6.28, and I'm going to drop down my r since I don't know it. From here, this is like a one-step equation. I want to get r by itself, so I'm going to divide by 6.28, the number that's attached to my variable. And when I divide that out, I get 9, or 9 feet, equals r. So I know that for this circle, the radius is going to be 9. Whenever you're given words for a problem, be sure to know which number represents which letter or which part of the circle. Now it's time for your practice. For each problem, you're going to find the circumference. For number 1, write your formula for circumference, plug in the numbers, and solve. All right, number 1, I'm going to first write my formula. C equals 2 times pi times the radius. I'm looking for the circumference, so I leave C. 2 times 3.14 times my radius. Hopefully you saw that the 12 is the diameter since it goes all the way through the center. I only want half of that. I only want the radius. So 12 divided by 2 is 6. So my radius for this circle is 6. Multiply everything out, and you should get 37.68 inches. Make any corrections before moving on to number 2. Find the circumference now for circle number 2. First step always is write your formula. C equals 2 pi r. C equals 2 times 3.14 times my radius, r. They give me the radius this time because this line only goes from the center of the circle to the outside. So the circumference of this circle is 25.12 inches. Let's find the circumference for circle number 3. Circumference equals 2 pi r. Circumference equals 2 times 3.14 times r. For number 3, I'm given the diameter. Again, since the line goes all the way through the circle, I only want the radius, which is half of the diameter. So 17 divided by 2. The diameter is going to be 8.5. I'm going to plug that in. The radius is going to be 8.5. multiply that by 2 times 3.14, and we get circumference equals 53.38 centimeters. Go ahead now and find the circumference for circle number 4. So C equals 2 pi r, 2 times 3.14 times my radius, which is 6.5, multiply straight across, and we get C equals 40.82 centimeters. Great job if you got all of those correct. Be sure you have corrected and fixed any mistakes that you made before moving on. All right, go ahead. This is our last basic one. Find the circumference for this circle. So my formula is C equals 2 pi r. So 2 times 3.14 times, I am not given my radius again here. The line goes all the way through. So I need to divide by 2. And my radius is 4.75. 4.75 is half of the diameter. I'm going to multiply that by 2 and by 3.14, and I get my circumference of 29.83 inches. All right, so next we're moving into the word problems. Go ahead and write your circumference, figure out which number you're given, plug it into the formula, and solve. So number 6 says a container has a circular lid with a circumference of 33 centimeters. What is the radius of the lid rounded to the nearest hundredths place? So I have this circular lid of a container. It's talking about a radius, but it's asking for what is the radius. Since I don't know that, I'm going to put my r. It's talking about circumference, so I'm going to write my formula. C equals 2 pi r. Here, though, I'm actually given the circumference is 33. So instead of writing C, I plug in 33 for their circumference. 2 times 3.14 times r, because I don't know my radius. I can go ahead and multiply 2 times 3.14, and I get 6.28 r. To get r by itself, I just divide both sides by 6.28. And I get r equals 5.254. However, the question asks to round to the nearest hundredths place. The hundredths place is 2 numbers after the decimal. So I don't want this 4. This 4 is going to make this 5 stay the same. So the radius of this container, the circular lid, is 5.25 centimeters. Now go ahead and solve problem number 7. So for number 7, I have a jar of peanut butter that has a circumference of 15.7. That's important. What is the diameter of the lid? So this is a little different because it's now asking for the diameter. If I have my peanut butter jar, this question is now asking for the line that goes through the center all the way across. So first, as always, since I've got circumference, I'm going to go ahead and write my formula, C equals 2 pi r. I'm given the circumference, so I'm going to plug that in for C, 15.7. this is going to equal 2 times 3.14 times the radius. I wasn't given the radius, so I'm going to leave that as r. I'm going to go ahead and multiply this 2 times 3.14, and I get 6.28, still times r. Divide both sides by 6.28 to get r by itself, and I get 2.5 equals r. Now in the past problem, we were done, but that's because the problem was asking for the radius. This problem, however, is asking to find the diameter. So think back, if I have a radius of 2.5, to get the rest, the diameter, if a radius is half a diameter, then in order to get the diameter giving the radius, I'm going to multiply by 2, because this side would also be 2.5. So 2.5 plus 2.5 gives me a diameter of 5, or 2.5 times 2 is 5. So the diameter of the lid is 5 units. Now solve number 8, the last problem for today. Always draw a picture to help represent the word problem. So this problem is talking about circle K has a diameter of 14, and I have another circle, circle L, who has a diameter of 9 meters. The question is asking for how much larger is the circumference of circle K. So first things first, I'm going to draw a picture to represent this problem. So circle K has a diameter of 14. Diameter is a line that goes all the way through the circle and through the center. Circle L looks to be smaller and only has a diameter of 9. I want to know how much larger the circumference of circle K is. In order to figure out how much larger, I first need to figure out the actual circumference of both circles. So C equals 2 pi r, write my formula. C equals 2 times 3.14 times r. If I'm given the radius of 14, in order to get I'm given the diameter of 14, to get the radius I divide that in half. 14 divided by 2 is 7. I'm going to multiply all of them together. So my circumference is 43.96 meters. Find the circumference of L. Again, C equals 2 pi r. C equals 2 times 3.14. Again, I'm given the diameter, so in order to get the radius, I divide 9 divided by 2, and I get 4.5. Multiply those three numbers together, and we get 28.26 meters. When it's asking for how much larger the circumference is, I need to subtract to find the difference between the circumference of K and the circumference of L. So 43.96 minus 28.26, and the difference is 15.7 meters. Circle K is bigger by 15.7 meters for its circumference. Alright, so great job today practicing with circumference. Here is your exit ticket. Solve questions 1, 2, 3, and enter the answers into the computer. Great job today.